art can mean different things to different people. For me, it's all about the joy of creating. So if you draw, paint, write, dance, sing, craft, play air guitar, or even sculpt using nothing but mashed potatoes, consider yourself an artist and join the conversation. For the next half hour, meet the artist, learn about their inspiration, and enjoy the beauty of creativity. Welcome to Art Talk with John Cole, artist. Well, yay, and welcome to Art Talk, everyone. My name is John Cole. I'm going to be your host for this evening. And today, I think we discussed prior to was August 8th, 2023. Is that correct?
Yes.
I think it is. It's a Tuesday, right? Hey, I want to welcome everybody tonight. I have a very special guest, probably one of my dearest friends, Megan Kidd. And if anybody recognizes the last name, I think somebody that's related to you was on just a couple weeks ago, wasn't he?
Yes, you had my other half.
Yeah, I did this wonderful interview with Tim. He was an amazing, I'm the host. What are you? You're the interviewee. You're the guest. He was an amazing guest. There we go. He was an amazing guest. And I know that you helped him get ready for that broadcast. And I thought, you know something? I've got to get Megan on the show. And I'm so happy that you agreed to do it. So thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me. Been looking forward to it.
Yay. So just real quick for those listening, I just want to let everybody know that Megan's broadcast will mark the first time that an episode will be very current on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Apple Music, and now Google Podcasts. So up until your broadcast tonight, Megan, everything was pre-recorded and I had to cut it to put it all up there. It just was a very cumbersome process. But you being on tonight makes it really easy for me. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. No pressure, right?
No pressure.
We got this.
Yeah. So I was hoping that maybe you could tell our listeners a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. So I am a wife to Tim Kidd, who does the woodworking. We have 3 semi-feral children. So there's no telling if they'll come busting in through this interview, but we've got 3 awesome kids, Mackenzie, Bellamy, and Bo. And I just started back to work full time after being a stay-at-home mom. So I am a kindergarten parapro at my children's school. So on top of doing all of the things, then I do blended mamas in all of my spare time.
Yeah, and it sounds like you probably have a ton of spare time too, doesn't it? Yeah. So Christine Cole says, hello, beautiful souls. So hello, Christine.
Hello, love you.
And Lucinda Bentley, she's also on tonight. Lucinda,
Hi.
how are you? Yeah, I'm really glad you guys tuned in. So Blended Mamas, that's really interesting to me because I know you run your own website and you sell products online. And one of the things that I wanted to talk to you tonight about, amongst other things, of course, are your essential oils, your blends. I mean, you call them something? Is there a special name for them?
Yeah, we call them blends. Yeah.
Wow.
Where our name came from. Yeah.
I know it just came out of the blue. That was amazing. But I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that because, this is a art program. And I know that art can take many forms. And I think essential oils specifically, especially the way that you do them, really lends well to the idea of artistic creativity. So maybe you could talk a little bit about that, about the blends and about Blended Mamas a little bit more.
Yeah. So Blended Mamas was actually started with a good friend of mine, a mom who I met in a mom's club. And we started making roller blends together just for our personal families. And we kind of thought, wouldn't it be fun if we turned this into a thing? And since we were making roller blends and it was the 2 of us, we came up with Blended Mamas. Mm-hmm. She was involved in so many other things that it just kind of didn't work out for her to stay with Blended Mamas. So I kept it going. So we've been doing this since 2016. And I say we because I do have another mom that's working with me. One of my very best friends, Jenny Murphy. She works with me a lot. I can't do all this by myself. So I'm so thankful to have her help. But yes, we make roller blends and sprays. The goal of Blended Mamas is to make using essential oils easy and affordable. So I use mainly doTERRA products
Mm-hmm.
when I create our blends. Um, and just the whole point is to keep you from having to buy 10 bottles that you may only need a few drops out of, because they vary in price, but it gets very expensive.
Right.
And if you're just needing it for one or two things, or you're new to it and just learning, we want to make it really, really easy for you to just grab your roller blend. It's got your instructions on the bottle, and you're good to go.
Right. Because I originally, for some reason, I was thinking that they were fragrance related, but they're really not. Right. These are blends that you curate to provide a particular function
Correct.
or
So,
purpose. Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So all of our roller blends have a purpose, and we create them. We tweak them here and there. Of course, I try to make sure they smell pleasant. We definitely don't want anything that's offensive, but of course, that's all in your own perspective too, right? So, but we have 18 different roller blends, and then we custom make stuff. So actually, I was in here last night. We have a friend at work who is pregnant
Mm-hmm.
and isn't feeling so great. So she asked if I had anything that I could help her, any oils that could help. So I was in here last night coming up with something to kind of help with that yucky feeling that can come along early, and making sure that it wasn't going to be offensive also. So
Well, right. Yeah. If you're pregnant, I suppose certain scents might
certain sense.
not be that
Mm-hmm.
great. Yeah.
Yep. So we were in here. I was in here last night making up some stuff for her. So we have things for headaches, allergies. We have 3 kids, so we get all of the cuts, scrapes, boo-boos you can think of. So we have a roller blend that helps with that.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter, she has allergies, so I sent her to class today with a stop coughing roller blend so that she wasn't coughing all through class. And
Mm-hmm.
so we have them for just about everything.
So how do you when you make up let's say I was asking you for something that was special. Maybe I have some thing going on. Maybe it's headaches, maybe it's stomach aches, whatever. You pick your poison, and I call you up and I say, this is what I'm experiencing. How would you go about developing the formula for providing me with the essential oil blend that would be the most beneficial for me?
So I have several different resources that I go to. I have a lot of books here in the shop. I have a lot of online resources that I go to, and I pull up all the oils that are going to help with that ailment.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm kind of going to weed them out to see which ones I think are going to work best for you. And then, like, we should have placed bets on how long until one of the kids came in. Not right now. Not right now. And so I told you that it was the cute one too. I should have just let him come in. So I'm going to look through and figure out which ones are going to be the most beneficial to you, and then kind of make my own concoction from there. I always keep track of how many drops I'm putting in. Something I make for you is going to be very different than something I would make for my son.
Mm-hmm.
His skin is much more sensitive. His system is much more sensitive. So I want to make sure that I blend things and use things that are specific to you and appropriate for you.
Well, I am a very sensitive person. So it looks like Jerry's online as well. She says, hello, John and Megan. Hi, Jerry.
Hi.
Thank you, Jerry, for joining us tonight. So when you are mixing these oils up, is it also a matter of, I would imagine there's some intuition involved, right? I mean, because like you were saying, your son's skin might be more sensitive than mine. That might be an obvious thing that you might want to change. But if you have a group of 10 adults looking for something, that would vary based on what you think, right? Or what you feel.
Yeah. Yeah. I do what I think is going to fit best for that person and that ailment.
Mm-hmm.
I do cross-reference a lot of my resources, just to kind of see if there's any contradictions for anything. But yeah, a lot of it is what I feel like is going to work best for you.
And how's your success rate been?
I haven't had any complaint.
Perfect. I see a perfect answer. I love that, Megan. Thank you. Um, no, that's pretty cool. And I think when you're, because this is an art program, right, folks? And you guys are tuning in to hear John Cole artists speak with artists. And I think there is a art form or a talent with mixing, whether or not it's oils or other things to produce something new. Because that's really, and I talked to Tim about this a little bit as well. I mean, that's the whole idea behind what innovation's about, right? It's about taking things that already exist and recombining them such that you're coming out with something new, right? And that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
So I think that's amazing. So hopefully you'll keep doing that with all that spare time that you have, because I mean, if people are getting a benefit out of it, then what's wrong, right? There's nothing wrong. You're doing something. You're providing a surface. You're providing a service to folks that really need that. So thank you for that.
Well, thank you. Yeah, that's what we hope to do. We just want to give people another option. And one thing, if you don't mind going off on a little side thing,
Sure.
that really what my heart in this business is really using it for children. And giving children a tool to use that they have access to, whereas obviously we have to closely monitor over-the-counter medications.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I love that these oils are a tool for them to, one, learn how they're feeling, decide how they want to feel, and then pick which tool, being a roller blend, is going to help get them there. I really, really, really love that. And I love, now that I'm in my kids' school, that it's something that I can help share with the teachers who are open to doing that.
Right.
My kids do it here. My kids have grown up with oils, though. I mean, they've used it for teething. That was one of the very first things that they learned, was when they had a tooth coming in, they would touch their jaw and then go to my oil rack in my bathroom and point, that they knew, even before they could tell me, that their mouth was hurting, and they knew that was going to make them feel better. Yeah. So I love, of course I want to help adults. I want to help everybody, but my passion, what really just lights me up in this business, is helping children have another tool, have an outlet.
Yeah. That's, and the other part of it too is, you were saying, point at your cheek for toothache. I'm assuming you're referring to something like clove oil or something like that.
No, because that would go in and that would be too strong for them. I can't remember off the top of my head exactly what's in it. I think it's Roman chamomile and lavender.
Okay.
And there may be one more in there. And we rub it on the outside of their jaws. Nothing goes on the inside. It's just
okay.
But it gave them enough relief that they associated that it was going to make them feel better.
Oh, that's really cool. I mean, I think that goes to show also the power of, I don't want to necessarily call it the Eastern way, because I think, Westerners, especially the early First Nation Native Americans, probably used a lot of those. Well, they would have, right? They didn't have the same types of drugs that we have today made by science. They relied on the natural side. We've got, like I mentioned, clove oil. Now, while you're right, I certainly wouldn't give clove oil to a child. As an adult, I have used clove oil myself for toothaches.
Right.
And it works, right? I've used peppermint for stomach aches. It works, and I think chamomile, right? Why do they make chamomile tea? Because it tastes good? No, it doesn't taste good. Let's be honest. It tastes terrible. But there is a health benefit from that. It can settle the stomach. It could calm you down. It could do a whole bunch of different things. So, your ability to then to take different oils and different mixtures to provide, or to augment, not even to augment, some cases just replace over-the-counter medicine and things like that, allergy medicine and stuff. That's pretty cool. Like I said, I think that's an amazing thing that you're offering. So, yeah, I wish you the best of luck with that moving forward, because that certainly has a lot of potential. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. And then, of course, the other thing I wanted to talk about tonight that I kind of advertised was crystals and gems, because I notice, and for those that are listening on the audio only, you certainly can't see the picture. However, Megan is sitting in what you call the shop. Is that the name of it, or do you have a different name?
Yeah, that's what we call it, the shop.
The shop. She's sitting in her shop, and what I'm looking at in the background is this display case that is full of rocks, gems, crystals, everything else. And I only know this because last summer I was down that way. Yeah, I got to stop in and see that, and she has an amazing spread. So you do deal in minerals and rocks and gems and crystals?
I do deal in all the pretty shiny things. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you were also talking to me right before we got on that although you're not creating the crystals, right? You don't have, unless you have this huge rock tumbler in your backyard, which I don't remember seeing when I was down there.
No. No.
Um, you go through a third party to obtain them, but then you do some pretty creative things with them, right? For your customers.
Yeah, so yes, I do go to a warehouse, and I love going in there. I usually go in with a specific list, and then I leave with things completely off the list. No idea why I bought them, and then I come home and I'm reading about them and learning about them. I'm like, oh, that's why. There's always a reason that I'm drawn to that thing. So I love going crystal shopping. But yes, I have a bunch of tumbled stones in this beautiful seed cabinet that I've got back here. Makes it easy for shopping.
Mhm.
And I have some beautiful crystal grids up here that were made for me by some friends that do pottery here in Commerce. And so while I don't create those and I don't create the crystals, I do create the crystal grids.
There we
So
go.
I love doing that. I did that for a while. I would get on Blended Mamas and do a live, and I would do intuitive crystal grids for some people. That was really cool and a lot of fun. So they would just kind of say, "Hey, I want one," and I would pull out a grid and just kind of look, not even at what the name was. I would just look at the crystals and go through and find a grid for them, and then send them everything with little cards of what I picked and what it means, and that kind of thing. So that was a lot of fun. I
And,
haven't
and
done those in a while.
and could you explain real quick what a crystal grid is?
So a grid is it could be a lot of things. I use it as a visual tool
Mhm.
to be intentional with my thoughts.
Oh, okay.
So much like my bracelets that I'm wearing that are all crystals. You got yours on too?
I
Yeah.
do. I do.
So I use those as visual tools of just how I'm feeling and where I want to be.
That's also very cool. I mean, it sounds like you approach everything from a very holistic perspective. And if you're going to get a name and then put together, a unique set of crystals or semi-precious stones or whatever, again, that's intuition. So I don't know if you've ever considered yourself an intuitive person, but you're definitely showing a lot of the signs of it. I think between the oil blending and then, of course, choosing crystals for somebody based on how you feel or what you think that they need just shows that you have that ability. So, I mean, do you consider yourself an intuitive person? Did I ask that earlier? I don't think I did.
No, I'm learning to lean into that a lot
Yeah.
more over the last couple years and the work I've been doing. It's I'm leaning into that heavily.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I think that you definitely are, because I think that was something that folks had pointed out to me not that long ago. I mean, when you use the word intuition, you tend not to associate that with men. I think you tend to associate that more with women, but the fact is we're all humans. And there is something that's beyond our five senses. I mean, you could argue that there is, you could argue that there isn't, but in my opinion, there is, only because there's been too many experiences in my life where I have to sit back and go, well, how did that happen? Why did that happen? Right? Why were you able to make the perfect blend for me and now I feel better? I mean, that came from someplace. It's like Christine and Christine's talent with her soul paintings. Same
Mm-hmm.
basic idea. She's able to connect with something that I can't see and touch, and she's able to bring messages that you're like, well, how would you even possibly know that, right? So there's a
Right.
lot of cases of that, and all that's is your intuitive side. And for me, I think I'm just now understanding that I have a little bit of that as well. And I think as an artist, honestly, I think that that's where a lot of that is can manifest, right? Is in the art.
Absolutely.
And it's the same thing with you doing the crystal grids and the oils and all this other stuff. It's a very, very interesting talent, and I think you're right. I think you have to keep going down that road, because I mean, next you're going to be talking to your horse.
Yeah. Yeah, he wears crystals too. So
Well, there
yeah.
you go. See, but yeah.
Well, I
So
think, to not to oversimplify it, but it's just what feels good. And sometimes you don't really know how to decide what feels good or not. And like I said, not to oversimplify it, but I'm like, does this feel good or does this not, and
Right.
that's the easiest way to look at it.
Yeah, and it probably is the one that would be most relevant to most people that don't even know that that's what that is.
Yeah.
And I think throughout our lives, throughout anybody's life, you run into those situations where something doesn't feel right. What I mean, everything's the same as it always was, and yet for some reason something doesn't feel right, and that's your intuitive side, screaming at you saying, yeah, maybe you shouldn't cross that railroad track at that particular moment. maybe wait a couple minutes before you do it, right? So awesome. But so what's next with you? I know that you're really busy. Is your shop up and running? I mean, are you servicing? Wait a minute, let me rephrase that. I almost said, are you servicing customers? But that's probably not the right question.
Not right.
Are you accepting customers in, or is it just kind of on a on-call type basis?
Yeah, so the shop is it is a legit business, but it is on my private property. So it's not an open to the public. It's invitation.
Right.
But of course it's always open. I love having people here. Mainly I do classes here. They're mainly for children, which they come in and we do a craft and we make a roller blend set. And that's always fun. I think the last 2 summers we've had kids in and we've done bath bombs, just something to keep them kind of busy over summer break.
Right.
We've done sip-in shops here where we've had a bunch of other friends who are crafty and they'll come out in the evening. I have a garden that's right out in front of the shop and we have lights hung up. So it's really fun to be out here at night, especially with all of our vendor friends. And we just kind of set up and do a little sip and shop and hang out.
That's pretty cool. Now Carrie's on. She says, hello, my beautiful friends. Carrie Betts.
There's my sister.
And Tracy Wisnowski, who happens to be my daughter.
Oh,
she's also on. She says hello. So hi, ladies. Thank you so much for popping in tonight and saying hi. So we're already starting to push towards 30 minutes because I tell you, I'm talking to you. I could talk to you all night long. And as much as I'd love to, of course, I like to keep this thing right around half an hour. But one of the things I just wanted to bring up, and this isn't directly related to you, but it's something that is coming up in October. And that's it's an event called Behind the Power. Now you've been to a couple of these events in the past, Megan?
I have, yes.
And what did you think about them?
They were very life-changing, like it's just I'm a little biased because I know all of the people that have been presenting on both years and I love them dearly, but to see their work and to hear their stories and just to be in a room with so many like-minded people is a really powerful thing.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And this year, like last year, and I'm not only going to be attending, but I will be speaking. And I just wanted to mention that. I think there's a really good opportunity, like you said, because it's a life-changing experience. The program itself is run by Allison Roberts. She's a cognitive behavioral expert, and she's been in the top 25 of the BuzzFeed's top 100 coaches in the world. I mean, just a pretty amazing person. But what I'd like to do, if you don't mind, is I'd like to show the Behind the Power video. Now, for those folks that are listening on the audio, there is an audio track as well. So you're going to hear the words. You just won't see the pictures. But if you don't mind, I'm going to play this really quick. And I think you haven't seen this yet either, right?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. So I'm going to go ahead and throw this on. Just hang on one second. Here we go.
Behind the Power is so much more than just helping you build your wealth. While we do that at this event, we also help you tap into your power and to come to understand that the only thing that is standing in the way between where you are right now and what you want is fear. You will leave Behind the Power with more courage, with more clarity, and more connection for business collaborations, business friendships, and more fulfillment in your overall life.
If I had to sum up Behind the Power in one word, it would be inspirational. Having served more than 3 decades in the U.S. military and retiring unexpectedly, I felt lost, aimless, rudderless. But what Behind the Power gave me was the personal strength and the courage to achieve these things I never thought I would be able to do. I now have a successful art business, I run my own podcast, and I've even traveled across the country. Behind the Power. Inspirational.
You will finally know that behind the power is you. You are a badass.
That's pretty neat. That was a pretty good video, wasn't it?
It was awesome. Yeah.
Did you see anybody in there that you recognized?
I saw a bunch of people. I didn't see me though.
Oh, you weren't there? Yeah, I thought it was a really good video. So yeah, but Behind the Power is going to be held in October this year. The days I don't remember off the top of my head. Did it say in the video? I think it did. Didn't it?
I'm not sure.
It's
usually
okay.
the middle.
Either way, what I'll do is I'll mention that the next time that we're alive. But yeah, it's coming up. It would be great if folks can come down and see us speak. I'm going to be speaking. I'm going to be talking about fear, which is something I think a lot of us can relate to. But yeah, I'll show the website towards the end that if folks are interested, they can check it out. And if they want to come down and see us, that would be awesome. Now, Christine, getting back to you, Megan, because it's all about you. The show is all about you. Christine asks, do you hold classes for adults on how to blend oils?
I haven't done any classes for adults. I'm going to be really honest. That's intimidating for me. I do a lot better with the children. But I would love to. I've been asked to. It's just something I haven't really just pulled up my boots and done it yet. So
yeah, I don't think adults are too bad. But I think you're right. I think sometimes kids are a little bit, well, they're a lot more fun sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no, you're doing great things, Megan. And I mean, for somebody that's got 3 kids, a husband, basically a full-time job, right? I mean, at least during the school year, you're taking care of a horse. You have 2 cats.
2 cats and 3 dogs.
2 cats and 3 dogs. I mean, and you still have time to do my podcast. So amazing, right? And Christine, she's got another question. Do you have any advice for people who want to try blending their own oils?
Yeah. I am very conservative, I guess. There's like 2 extremes in the oils world to me. And one's like, you can't use this for anything ever. And the other's like, you can use it for all of the things. And so I'm pretty in the middle, but also more on the conservative side. So just start slow. You can always add more. So if you are making your own blends, just, go slow. Add in a couple, see what you think, see how it works. And you can go back and add a little bit more. I always try to make sure and look for any contradictions. So if you are taking medications, there are a couple of oils that can interact with things. And if you're outside a lot and using them on your skin, there are some oils that you shouldn't wear out in the sunlight. So there's just some things, some little highlights, but there aren't that many that are super urgent. So.
Actually, that makes me think of a question as well when it comes to mixing the oils. I mean, do you start with like a clear base and then add to it, or do you start with what do you start with? How do you start that process?
Well, so for me, if I'm making a roller blend, I put my oils in the roller bottle first. Mm-hmm. Once I get all my oils in, then I mix in my carrier oil, which there are several different carrier oils you can use. So you don't want to apply essential oils directly to your skin, although you can depending on which one. So I use fractionated coconut oil. So once I get everything mixed, I add that in to top off my roller blend.
Right. And Christine, she must really, really, really want to make her own oils. How do you know the oils you are buying are high quality? And actually, that's a really good question, because you can go into Marshall's and buy oils for like $5 sometimes, but you don't really know what you're getting, right?
So I'm going to just put out there the advice that I tell everybody. So don't come after me. I use mainly doTERRA oils when I am making stuff for my customers. It is a well-known and trusted brand. What I tell people when they're buying stuff from Walmart or Marshalls or whatever, buy whatever you want if you're diffusing it. But if you're putting it on your skin or ingesting it, make sure you're buying from a reputable company. I'm not saying that doTERRA is the only one, right? But just make sure you're buying from a reputable company.
Yeah, it never crossed my mind that a lot of those oils are basically for aromatherapy type stuff, right? The diffusers or those sticks, the sticks that they stick in the, which I never cared for those, by the way. I'd rather have the one that blows up the steam, that I like. But cool. Now, how would people, if people wanted to look more into purchasing from you, how would they go about doing that?
Yeah, so Facebook is Blended Mamas is on Facebook. And then we have a website, blendedmamas.com. And then if you're local, I live in Georgia. I'm in North Georgia. I am in one store in downtown Commerce that is called Upstairs on Broad.
Wonderful. And congratulations on that. That's cool.
Thank you. Yeah, I've been in there for almost 2 years now.
Wow. Good for you. And folks, if you're interested in Behind the Power, which I talked about a few minutes ago, the website I put on the bottom of the screen, and I'll read it off for those that are listening. It's https BTP for Behind the Power 23.vfairs. That's spelled VFAIRS.com. So yeah. So Megan, thank you very much. I hope that you'll come back and join me on the show again. And I would absolutely love to have you and Tim on at the same time. So hopefully that's still in the cards, because I think we talked about that once, maybe a couple months ago, but that would be kind of a cool thing, have a roundtable discussion to see how things really work in the kid household.
Oh, yeah, that would be fun.
That would be a lot of fun. So we'll definitely have to do that. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, you have a great night. I'm going to let you go. Everybody, thank you very much for listening. If you're live and watching, thank you. If you're watching the replay or listening on one of those podcast services, thank you very much. And I'll see you guys next Tuesday. See you later. Thank you so very much for joining me on the Art Talk podcast, where it's my goal to bring artists together to talk about their craft. If you'd like to join me for a conversation, please reach out via email at johncoleartist@gmail.com or by visiting my website at johnrobertcole.com. So until next time, keep crafting, painting, and inspiring others with your creativity. You make more of an impact than you know. See ya.